What's up everyone, welcome back to another video here on Just Ask Danny, where we discuss all things Disney parks, Universal resorts, and other theme parks. In this particular video, I wanted to go over Oogie Boogie Bash and my recommendation on the best way to get the most out of your evening to maximize your time. I really felt like we tackled our evening the best way possible, and I wanted to share that with you guys so that you can plan your evenings at Oogie Boogie Bash the same way to see everything that you want to see at this particular event. Let's go ahead and get this video started because we have a lot to go over. So after you enter the main gates of Disney California Adventure Park, we actually had to queue up. And this queue can get kind of big, but this is the event check-in queue where you're going to get your wristband for the event, the map for the event, as well as your treat bag. You can do this inside the park over at the Blue Sky Cellar, which is over in the Golden Vine Winery area of the park. If you're already in Disney California Adventure Park throughout the day, that'll save you some time waiting here, but I wasn't in the park, so I came to the park specifically for this event, and if you do that, you have to come and check in at the event check-in. And then when you walk into the main corridor, and I just wanted to show this little clip here because they actually turned that main corridor into a treat trail later on in the evening, whereas it wasn't when we first got there. But we headed directly to the first new treat trail, or immersive treat trail, for Cruella. And Cruella was one of the 3 new villains this year that has an immersive treat trail, and as you can see here by this line, it is very, very long. So we wanted to get this one out of the way quickly, as it was very, very popular. And her meet and greet is over at the stage area over by Monsters Incorporated and Hollywood Studios area of Hollywoodland in Disney California Adventure Park. Like I mentioned earlier, this is one of the new treat trails this year for Oogie Boogie Bash. 2019 was the first year of this event. Obviously, we didn't have one in 2020, so 2021 brought 3 new immersive treat trails for us, Cruella being one of them, and this one was just like the movie. They did such a good job. The actress playing Cruella was amazing. These immersive treat trails let you get up close and personal with the characters so you can take photos, meet with them, talk to them, of course, and then gather candy along the way. But we quickly headed out of this treat trail over to the next one, which was the Mad Hatter. Now, unfortunately at this one, this is over at the Hyperion Theater. The Mad Hatter was unfortunately just leaving as we walked up. So we got to say hello to him and he walked away. Now, this can happen with these immersive treat trails. The characters do have to leave and go. Sometimes that is just the case. But after the Mad Hatter, we headed over to Oogie Boogie, who's actually in the animation building. And of course, Mr. Oogie Boogie himself, the host of the event, has a massive immersive treat trail inside the animation courtyard of the animation building. It is a beautiful, beautiful immersive treat trail inside there. Oogie Boogie can talk to you, you can greet with him, take photos. This is a super awesome treat trail and a very, very popular one, but it's really great to kind of knock out all 3 of those right there in Hollywoodland. And then lastly, on our way to Villains Grove, which is my next recommendation, we stopped by Maleficent, whose immersive treat trail sits actually behind Soarin' Around the World. So over there in Grizzly Peak Airfield, you can actually meet Maleficent behind Soarin'. So again, the next plan of attack was to head to Villains Grove. And we're going to do this during the first parade showing or just before the first parade showing. Villains Grove definitely is one of the more popular things during Oogie Boogie Bash and can garner an hour to an hour and a half wait sometimes, depending on what time of the day you're headed there. When we got in line for Villains Grove, we got in line just after the parade had stepped off, and we were met with a sign that said it was a 45-minute wait to get into Villains Grove. Now, in actuality, we waited about 27 minutes to get in, so it wasn't as bad, but when we encountered Villains Grove later that evening, the line was physically about double or maybe even more than double of what we waited in when we saw it. It kind of doubled back again. So, but again, Villains Grove is one of the more popular things during Oogie Boogie Bash, and it's definitely a must-see thing. There is moments in it where it can be super frightening for young kids, potentially, but I think overall everyone really enjoys this, including kids. The concept of Villain's Grove is like an ethereal, otherworldly walkthrough where you're guided through the walkthrough by wisps that take you from section to section, and each section basically has the vibes or the essence of what villain was there and left behind. So their signatures have been left behind, whether it's here in this example, Maleficent's thorns and vines. You hear her laughter, you hear the crows. We first encountered previously in this video Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. You see, you hear the organ from the Notre Dame Cathedral. You see the stained glass windows. You see fire burning. So like basically, it's the essence of each villain left behind. So a lot of the laughter, the evil laughs, the cackling, some of their incantations or maybe their famous phrases like "off with their head" from the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. But as you see, we walked through. We already went to Frollo through Hunchback of Notre Dame. Then, of course, the Maleficent part. Now we're in the area representing Alice in Wonderland. And this particular part has two villains. And I don't necessarily know you could say that the Cheshire Cat is a villain. He obviously has some kind of sinister personality about him, but he definitely was featured in Villain's Grove. So this first section during the Alice in Wonderland part did feature the Cheshire Cat, and then the next section features the Queen of Hearts. But again, this particular walkthrough, it's totally self-guided. This is not a candy treat trail, so you're not going to be stopping for candy during this particular walkthrough. It is just simply a walkthrough, but there's a lot to see, a lot to enjoy. It's definitely, of course, very photogenic, and you can take your time. Again, no one's pushing you through. You're just being guided by the cast members from section to section, but you can take your time. You can sit at each section, just let people walk around you. And here again is the Queen of Hearts section for Alice in Wonderland. This section was super cool. They had roses everywhere, lighting up from white to red, painting the roses red. The Queen silhouette featured in this particular section was based on the animated feature for Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts from that, but the music in this section was from the live action series. So it's kind of like a mix of the two, a really good kind of combo of both that can appeal to a bunch of different people. But from here you actually head over to the Scar section for Lion King, and this is kind of like the big rocky section of Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. And then they used kind of the large rock formations with these big steam geysers to kind of really represent Scar's kind of signature. You know, he's in his wastelands area, the Deadlands area with all the lava and all that kind of stuff. You see the silhouettes of the hyenas marching in the background. You hear Scar's laugh, all that kind of stuff. So each villain kind of leaves their mark behind in each area. And then, of course, right after this particular area, you head into Princess and the Frog. And the villain there, of course, is Dr. Facilier. So his section, he basically left behind the portal to the other side, because remember, he has friends on the other side. So you see all the kind of spooky, dark fiends from the other side, and then you see silhouettes of Dr. Facilier, and sometimes his laughter or his maybe the music and song from kind of his chants and things like that do pop up in and out. This is a really fun area. A lot of people really stood here and kind of took that in and took pictures of this particular portal projected onto the ground. And then, of course, you head on up the stairs to the final section for the villains being featured, and this section is the Evil Queen from Snow White. Now, this particular section is one of the scarier sections for younger kids. It's really, really, really dark here, and the Evil Queen does her kind of evil laugh, has a few phrases that she talks about different things, and then they do the lightning in the trees and lasers. It really is a cool effect and is way better in person than it is showing up on this video. But you can see the silhouette of the queen there, and she does her final laugh, and then all the lightnings kind of strike down on the trees. So but the most impressive part about Villain's Grove is the exit. So you've gone through all the different parts of the walkthrough with the villains, and the wisps have guided you out through the magical forest, and it is truly a magical forest. They project like millions of laser dots all over the trees, and cameras just don't pick it up. You have to see it in person. This is a really magical area. And you can really just stay here for a while, and I highly recommend it, just taking it all in. The music is great in the whole walkthrough, and it's, especially at the end, it's very kind of ethereal and dreamy. And then as you exit, you kind of walk through a portal with a lot of fog, and it kind of looks like you're being guided out of Villain's Grove and back to reality. And they do a really good job of kind of portraying that in the effects. Again, there is such high production value in Villain's Grove. It's one of the definite highlight features of Oogie Boogie Bash. If the Halloween parties were ever to go back over to Disneyland, this would certainly be something that I would hope they would try to do, either for normal guests or just, maybe try to bring a version of this over to Disneyland. But it's a super fun walkthrough, and we always have a great time in it. And I highly recommend, again, you guys try to do this during that first parade showing, as to get the lightest wait times possible for Villain's Grove. So right after Villain's Grove, you're in the same area of one of the next immersive treat trails, and I decided to just get that one right out of the way there. Adjacent to the main entrance of Grizzly River Run is the immersive treat trail for the evil queen herself from Snow White. Now this is a longer immersive treat trail. You're walking that whole back pathway, that back trail behind the attraction. There are quite a few candy stops on this particular treat trail as you make your way closer to the queen herself at the end of the pathway. She's standing on like a big pile of books with her cauldron, hackling guests as they walk by. Really just a fun meet and greet. A lot of people really like this one. Of course, the Evil Queen has a bunch of fans in the Disney community, and a lot of Disney fans love her, so this was a really popular one. So definitely make sure you hit up this one, and don't forget it. It is kind of in a hidden area. And then right after this meet and greet, there's an opportunity to do some long lost villain meet and greets. Now that's a separate kind of photo opportunity. It's not a candy treat trail, but there's some opportunities to meet some really cool villains that you don't normally see ever, like Lil Jon from Robin Hood and some of the other characters from that same movie. And they kind of rotate out. You might see Hades here, Panic, Pain, all that kind of stuff. So there's some really fun, rare characters that you don't normally get to see in a Disney park. We're in this particular area meeting and greeting guests. Mickey and Minnie also had their meet and greet over in Pixar Pier in the World of Color viewing area. So where you normally would watch World of Color, they had like a little Halloween setup there with Mickey and Minnie in their Halloween costumes. These costumes are different from anything they wear normally in California Adventure, anything they wore normally in Disneyland. So it was a really cool little costume to meet Mickey and Minnie in. But next, I decided to head on over to Pixar Pier to meet one of the second brand new villains for this interactive treat trail, which is Sid Phillips from Toy Story. Now, as you know, Sid, the kid with the braces, who made all the kind of freak show toys that were really kind of just misunderstood, but he was kind of a bully, of course, and he, hackles guests and makes fun of them. It's a really fun and interactive meet and greet treat trail. This is a candy treat trail too. This is in Pixar Pier, just across from the Pixar Pal Around giant Ferris wheel. There is nothing else Halloween related in Pixar Pier, so you can either get this one done first or do what I did and kind of head over here towards the later half of the evening. There is one other photo opportunity in Pixar Pier to meet the characters from Onward, Pixar's Onward movie. And forgive me, I don't remember their names, but they were available for pictures and kind of a distance meet and greet. There was no candy at this particular stop, but this was just adjacent to kind of the Incredicoaster area as you're making your way through Pixar Pier. And then lastly, the other brand new character interactive trail was one of the most highly anticipated and most popular of the evening, which was Agatha Harkness over in Avengers Campus. Now, Agatha Harkness, of course, being the villain that revealed herself in the WandaVision Disney Plus series that was extremely popular, and this meet and greet was just as popular. I mean, it was huge lines for this one, but it does move quickly. This is a candy treat trail, so you do wait in line for candy stops, and then get to see Agatha at the end. The actress that they had playing Agatha was incredible, and they really did a good job kind of theming this particular meet and greet to the character. They had the sanctum floor in the Doctor Strange sanctum where she's standing, kind of uprooted and holding her up as, you know, she used her magic to do that. So it looked really, really cool, and she was really, really interacting with guests and just staying in character the whole time. This was A+ addition to Oogie Boogie Bash for sure. Now over in Avengers Campus, another fun little tidbit for guests that are visiting the Disney California Adventure Park during this event. There is no boarding group needed to ride Web Slingers, the Spider-Man attraction in Avengers Campus. It did have a 40-minute wait. I don't necessarily know that I would recommend people do Web Slingers. Like, you only have 4 hours for this event and about an hour wait, wasting your time on an attraction that you could ride during normal hours. I just don't know that I would recommend doing that when there's so many other fun Halloween related things to do during this event. So of course we were getting closer to that 10 o'clock hour, so we had to get our spots for the parade. We headed over to Buena Vista Street, over across from Carthay Circle, to wait for the Frightfully Fun Parade. You can see here the Headless Horseman stepping off to open it all up. But also, as you can see across the street in this video closer to Carthay Circle, the size of the crowds waiting to watch this particular parade at this showing were really minimal. So this is one of the benefits of watching that second parade. More importantly, one of the really important aspects of this parade, specifically for Disney parks in general, was the Frightfully Fun Parade marked the first parade to return back to any Disney park since the shutdown due to the pandemic. All parades, of course, stopped when the parks shut down. And even in Walt Disney World, they still have not had a full parade yet ever since this parade. Now, Walt Disney World does some pretty large and lengthy cavalcades, but they are not set parades with times and, you know, waiting along a parade route with a full procession or anything like that. So the Frightfully Fun Parade here at the Disneyland Resort was the first parade at a Disney park since the parks have all reopened, which was great to see. I know a lot of the entertainers were really happy to be back. And the Frightfully Fun Parade is an excellent parade. They've got some really cool floats like this Haunted Mansion one here. But definitely recommend getting a spot for this parade along, like I mentioned, the Carthay Circle area over by Cars Land. The easiest place to watch this parade is most likely close, kind of in between the Little Mermaid attraction and Cars Land. The parade does step off over kind of closer to Pixar Pier. So if you are closer to that Little Mermaid attraction, you are kind of closer to where it steps off. So it can be a little bit more packed over there because I think people do know that it starts over there. But it does take a little bit of time to get to you over by Buena Vista Street if you do decide to watch it there. So just be patient for that one. It doesn't start on one side and then go back the other way like Disneyland parades do. Disney California Adventure has a pretty large backstage area, so the parade floats can circle all the way around. So it does start at the same location for both parade times. So don't think it's going to be switching directions for each particular showtime. Again, this was the 10:05 showing. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same. Everything's always subject to change. So definitely search the Frightfully Fun Parade within the Disneyland app on the day of your event, and that'll give you the show times right then and there. That was the best way I was able to find it because their maps and things didn't really list it out for me. So just by searching the actual word Frightfully Fun Parade, I was able to pull that up in the app and see the exact show times. And my final stop of the evening, just before 11 o'clock, was the Dr. Facilier Immersive Treat Trail. This is now located behind Carthay Circle in the flex space that they just built. It used to be over at Stage 17, but that's now an Avengers Campus store and like Avengers merchandise store. So now they moved it outside to this space. Just like it was before, this is a great immersive treat trail. Dr. Facilier loves interacting with guests, and you can spend a lot of time here. This treat trail is right at the front of the park, so it can be popular throughout the day. But at this time of the day, closer to 11 o'clock, it was pretty empty, and it was basically kind of a walk right in, no line at all type thing. But that basically wraps up my day at Oogie Boogie Bash. I had a great time on opening night, and I hope my plan of attack and my tips on how to kind of tackle the evening has helped you guys in planning your upcoming visits to Oogie Boogie Bash if you are going. And if you're not going, I hope you can do so next year. But thanks again, guys, for watching. Leave a comment, like this video, and we'll see you next time.